Okay, hey, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and today's the 31st of December 2017, so we're going to click it over tomorrow and get into 18, and I think it's going to be a great year. I really do think it's going to be a great year. And notice if you go back in my videos, I didn't say that last year because I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. But I'm making this little mini series here, and I called it Mangalitsa privilege. Mangalitsa privilege. And it's weird how YouTube works. When you put up certain words, you know, it gets a lot of attention. And you know, there was people that came to my YouTube site there and and informed me that I didn't spell privilege right. Well, too bad. That's how I spell it. Actually, I asked my wife, and she said that's how you spell it. So that's how we're going to spell it. But anyway, I'm being facetious, and what the point that I'm trying to drive home is that we are needing more pasture-raised Mangalitsa and Mangalitsa crosses in the United States right now, a lot more. And I'm afraid that what happened last time will happen again if we don't get the information out there. So when I know I'm talking to a lot of new farmers or non-farmers that would say, yeah, I'd like to get into farming. And what we don't want to have happen is somebody to hear the message that we're going to need a whole lot more pastured Mangalitsa and Mangalitsa cross and then just run wild with it and don't do it properly. Because the difference between a non-pastured Mangalitsa and Mangalitsa cross and a pastured one is night and day. It literally is night and day. And so what we don't want to have happen is a non-pastured animal brought to a high-end chef, let's say, and he gets it and he says, well, this is no better than the stuff that I get from food service. You know, we don't want that to happen. So we want to kind of create a distinction between the pasture-raised animals and the non-pasture-raised animals for people. I mean, if you want to do CAFO animals, go ahead, knock yourself out. People can do what they want. But in order to get the Mangalitsa edge, I guess we'll call it, the true potential of this animal is arrived at when you adhere to the disciplines of this animal. It's a complete discipline. It isn't just the animal. I got a bunch of them right here that I'm bedding. It's a discipline, the whole thing from start to finish. I mean, we don't cut these the same as CAFO pigs, you know, store pigs. Store pigs are chilled or frozen, and then they're thrown up on a bandsaw and cut. And when you cut meat on a bandsaw, you do a lot of damage to it, and it has a tremendous effect. These ones are seam cut, and that means there's seams that are built into them. And when we take them apart carefully and intentionally, we can see where the seams are, and then we cut them with a knife. And I'll make a video on that later. I mean, much later, because I don't plan on doing any butchering anytime real soon. But when I do, I will do that at some point, or maybe somebody else has some up on YouTube that they actually do the seam butchering. So, okay, Mangalitsa privilege. First of all, I gotta make a distinction on some methods. You know, I throw around the word CAFO or the acronym CAFO a lot, and maybe some new people don't really know what that is. But it's a subject worth thinking about, especially if you're going to get into this or you plan on using this product. It's worth thinking about. A CAFO is an acronym for a concentrated animal feeding operation, and that is usually with pigs, usually, I'm speaking in generalities here, usually it's a building that is over a great big tank, cement tank, sometimes 10 feet deep. And the floor of the building that the pigs are standing on are slatted or slotted. They used to be slats, but now they make them out of plastic and they cut slots into them. And what that does is it makes it so the animals can stand on the floor, but their manure and urine will be pushed through the floor. So the animals are not in any bedding at all. So that means that they have to heat those buildings. And, you know, that's an energy issue, all right? But they have to heat the buildings, and then in the summertime they have to cool the buildings, right? So that's an energy issue, and I'm not going to get into that. You can think about that on your own. But the manure goes through, and it's in this tank, and they keep all the manure and the urine in a slurry. That means they add water to it, and sometimes they add certain anti-caking chemicals to it. Let's see, that's 6 minutes. I can't go past 10. And then that has to be spread out on fields. And anybody that lives near hog CAFOs know what the smell is all about. But then you can have, you know, thousands of animals under one roof, and they can all be taken care of by one person. So that's the advantage. The disadvantage is they smell really bad. The animals are very congested in that building, and so they have health problems. And in order to keep the health, to stay away ahead of any health problems, they medicate the feed. And I'm not going to go there because I'm not an expert on that, and I don't want to, you know, because I'm not saying that stay away from CAFO pigs, because for some people that's where their bread and butter is, and that's what they're going to do. But the reason why we're not doing it is that cocktail of the type of feeds that they use plus the medications they put in will not be suitable for this pig if you're going to make high quality meals and charcuterie out of it. Just not going to work. It won't, because those chemicals will concentrate in the charcuterie meats and sausages and stuff. And not only is it a serious health concern, it affects the curing, and it's hard to get the product where you want it to be. I'm going to sneeze here real quick. I think. Maybe not. Okay, so that's what a CAFO is. The antithesis to CAFO is pasture raised, or sometimes they call them dirt pigs. I'm going to stay away from dirt pigs because that's not going to work either. Like I said in the last video, if you just have a small pen and you've had pigs on it forever and it's nothing but hard-packed dirt, that is not a pasture. And people are doing that. They're saying that they're pastured like that, but that's not correct. A pasture is going to be a field, well, say like this field here, and the pigs will take everything off of this, whether it's roots or above ground, and they eat it. And that makes them happy, that makes them healthy. We don't have to give any drugs to these animals at all. The only thing that we do is we castrate the males, and we have to do that, and I can go into that at another time too. We don't cut the teeth off, we don't cut the tails off. That's not necessary. That's all CAFO operational type things, and you don't need to do that. You just don't. You know, some things I'm going to be kind of dogmatic on, because we've done this long enough where I can say you don't need to do that. And I just, when arguments break out on these pages on Facebook, I don't even get involved, because it's just like they're going to find out sooner or later anyway. But as far as this goes, I tried to find some pigs, because I have a customer now that needed about 30 of them. I could not find any pastured pigs. I could not find them. They had to be in this state. I found a handful of them, well, put it that way, but there's no pasture this time of year, but from where they were on a pasture. So, well, that's when I realized that we really need to get this information out there and make the distinctions clear. Let's see. Okay, now on this field, I can plant this. And I'm probably going to go into that on another video. Maybe I'll do one real quick. So I'll put out 2 today. Happy New Year's to you and yours. Stand by. Man, it's cold.